Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about puritanical game delistings hitting another platform and a new Game Boy that you'll have to build yourself. It's going to be a good one because we have Jan Ochoa on the show. Jan, how are you doing?
I am doing perfectly okay, Grubb.
Yep, just right there in that meaty part of the bell curve. Going to just be okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Not
same.
quite the butter zone, but like
No.
there you realize, oh, I still have butter left.
Yeah, we could see the butter zone. Yeah, that's where we want to be. But we'll settle for this. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Jan, I am still playing a lot of Donkey Kong. I got a good night's sleep last night. Tell you that. That was good. Yeah, I kind of tried some new things and new breathing exercises, and it worked. Oh, you know what I did? I did the hot shower, cold shower, hot shower thing, and that just like flooded me of any sort of adrenaline that might have been in my body was all gone, depleted, sent to the heavens, and I passed right out basically after that. So feeling well rested, but also just like, oh man, there's a million things that I probably should have stayed up late and worked on and didn't do that. But you know, that's what Thursdays are for.
Yeah, whatevs,
exactly.
Grubb.
Whatevs. How about you? How you doing overall? Like, what else you got going on?
I'm gonna be gone next week. I'm gonna go fuck off in the wilderness again.
Yeah.
We decided to go backpacking instead, and I have decided I like backpacking because I'm going to get lost in my thoughts and so physically tired that I just fall asleep. So that's
fun.
Good
stuff.
Grubb, I'm gonna tell you, I'm being very stubborn, and I'm still holding on. That maybe, even though it's a week past now, maybe we'll get Bonanza Code.
I mean, I think if we could just ask again. I'll bet they'll get you one. I think get you one before you leave on your trip. That'll be good. Take your Switch 2 with you, and when you have time, because they once it's out, they don't care as much. They just don't want us to ever have it early, which it's their prerogative. But yeah, we'll ask one more time.
Other than that, I've been Well, Grubb, I got a little predicament because I have an older iPad that I found in a drawer. I don't quite remember buying this iPad, so maybe I accidentally pilfered it from here.
Yeah, you liberated it, yeah.
And I thought, oh, this would be a great place to play Magic the Gathering Arena, but the iPad's too old to play any new apps. So now I'm wondering, well, I'm stuck with this. What do I do with this other than like download movies to it and have it act as like another mini monitor?
Yeah. Like if you an old Mac, you could do a lot of stuff with that. What do you do with an old iPad? I guess there's probably ideas out there.
Yeah.
Set it up as a external camera or something weird like that. I don't know. Turn it into put it in your car and make it your new in-car entertainment, your new ice. In there and rock that way. I don't know, but the old iPads, like how old is it? Like the 32-bit iPad, or is it just like, oh, they updated that OS a couple of times and now it's not working? Like, how old do you estimate it to be?
Ooh, maybe 2018 or 19, because it's still a lightning cable for the charging port.
Right. Okay. So yeah, 5-6 years. That's right. It's probably right on the border. It was probably working up until a little bit ago. All right, you know what? Let's get into things. Let's explain what we do here. This is Giant Bomb. We are Giant Bomb. You go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member, help us out, helps us make stuff, helps us do cool things, ensures that we are able to do things like, oh yeah, Mike and Dan are doing some neat things next week that you guys will be pretty excited to see. All of the support we get helps empower us to do things like that. So go to giantbomb.com/join, gets you ad-free episodes, gets you some goodies. We really appreciate all of the help over there. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with A major gaming store delist all not safe for work games following pressure from anti-porn campaigners. This is from John Walker at Kotaku. Following on from Steam's delisting of hundreds of extreme adult games, indie game site itch.io has made the even more extreme move of, in some cases temporarily, removing all not safe for work games from its store page and search results. The action, made in response to pressure group Collective Shout, has led to even this year's IGF Grand Prize winner vanishing from the store. Describing the measure, and that's the Indie Game Foundation. I can't remember what IGF actually stands for. Describing the measure as critical, Itch released a statement explaining the draconian move, conducted with no warning, is the site acting urgently, and that's a quote, while it conducts a comprehensive audit of content, but added that some games would not return. On July 15th, Valve began removing hundreds of porn-themed games from the formerly extremely liberal Steam store, following pressure from payment handling companies, themselves responding to pressure from Australian anti-porn campaign group Collective Shout. Following the brief hosting of a game called No Mercy, both Steam and Itch became the target of a great deal of media attention, with the game eventually pulled from sale by both its host and its creators. That game featured some SA, which is why it became such a target, and maybe rightfully so. At the time, Valve were removing only extreme porn titles, almost all related to rape and incest, leading many to find the move difficult to oppose. However, it was also pointed out that such moves, when carried out haphazardly and unclearly as this, with responsibility for content guidelines handed to external financial corporations, inevitably leads to overreach, and LGBTQ plus games and those that explore controversial topics will always be the first to be unfairly affected, as we wrote last week. This is ongoing. This sounds like, this is a move that when this first started happening with Steam, Jan, I mentioned, this is something that has happened in other arenas, other mediums, other markets, frequently, where these groups put pressure on the credit card processing companies, and then the credit card processing companies kind of act as their bulldogs, act as their agents to go out there and enact what these people want at this one group. I think there's going to be a couple responses to this. I was worried early on, Jan, that it would be like, well, I don't care about those games. In fact, I don't even like seeing them on Steam, so this doesn't affect me. I'm pretty happy to say the response from the wider gaming community has been like, this is bad. Why should any external corporation, a payment processing company, get to say what people are allowed to buy or make a living off of? And it's correct that LGBTQ plus games have been unfairly sort of targeted in this, because the topics that they touch on often are sexual in nature, or they're trying to safely explore sex. There's a game from several years ago. I remember when this kind of kicked off the sex positive games movement. It was, hey, this game about teaching people about their bodies and making people more comfortable about that. And it was an educational game. That's going to get caught up in this as well. It's unfair, weird, and really, it's just these people trying to take their shame and apply it to everyone else.
Yeah, 100%. The worry here, Grubb, is not just the erasure of LGBTQ plus games and other games that may take a more mature and educational focus or emotional focus on these sensitive subject matters, but also where does the line stop, and if this group is getting their way for these sexually oriented games or what they are framing as sexual games, what about when it comes to violence? What about when it comes to other subject matter? Or if there's another group out there? And the thing that really sucks is that it's always a fairly small group of people in comparison to the wider gaming audience. I'm in the same boat as you, Grubb. I don't quite care for these games. I don't need to see some of these games. But it is unfortunate that there are like really substantial games that get caught up in this wider umbrella, this wider net that these smaller, super hyper conservative groups are casting. Sure, they have the intention to shield children and shield the youth away from this serious subject matter, but in reality, we can kind of connect the dots that, okay, they don't like trans people, they don't like gay people, they don't like bi people, so they want to erase their existence on the internet. And I can't get down with that. I'm bummed out that someone like Steam or Itch is bowing down to these like little fuckers because Grub, it's not just in the video game industry, right? We've seen it with movies, we've seen it with TV, especially books. It's also happening in public education where these small groups are complaining about various things like racism when really they're just trying to make sure that we don't learn about brown people or how white people have been bad. And I think I'm very happy, like you said, Grub, that the wider gaming audience is taking a stand and saying, hey, fuck this. We don't like this. Let everyone have their games.
Yeah. One thing it always makes me think of as well is like, this is evidence, an example of one of the many reasons capitalism doesn't work. Because the idea of capitalism is, and this is where the like classic liberal ideology comes from, is for capitalism to work, everyone needs to have an equal level of freedom to operate in the marketplace or in society. And from the beginning, that's never been the case. And so, the liberal movement, it's about like, well, let's try to do our best to have civil rights and make sure everyone does have the equal say in society and has the equal ability to make a living doing what they want. And the reality is there's these powerful groups and powerful corporations that can stamp out things they don't like or take their own personal, internal shame and externalize that as attacks on other groups. And that it makes it so it's just like, okay, now this person who was expressing themselves maybe in a bawdy way, maybe the way you don't like, but they're still legally that should be allowed. You have found a way to not criminalize it, but to relegate it to a realm where it can't be a money earning venture. So now they can't make a living anymore from their art the way someone else could, and so immediately the system is broken. And that's what you want, because you do want the ability to punish these people for doing something that you say is wrong. It is as simple as a credit card company should not be able to tell me how I'm using my credit card company for something that is not illegal. I'm not allowed to buy drugs with it. Fine. If Steam wants to host these games and the person wants to make the game and someone wants to buy the game, why should anyone be able to get to step in and put themselves between that and stop it from happening? And the slippery slope argument, I don't think it's a slippery slope here, because we know how this always goes. It's always the same thing. It's because it is fascism. It is, and the fascism always keeps moving in one direction. Take more, stop more control. Go until it breaks and sort of collapses in on itself. But it'll sort of act as a lawnmower running through people's lives long before it collapses and do a lot of damage. And we're just seeing the start of that.
I don't understand how there is so much media out there, Grub, warning people of the dangers of censorship or the dangers of isolating and separating different groups, or even getting rid of dancing in small towns, Grub. Let's just call Collective Shout in similar groups like this what they are. They're a bunch of fucking losers.
They're losers.
A bunch of miserable pieces of shit, and they're never going to censor my ass. In fact, I hope they kiss my ass from the front. Because, you are ruining people's livelihoods. You are playing the wrong game. You're not even fucking playing these games, fucking dicks.
Yeah, they almost have no concept of what's really happening in this space. Of course they don't. It is unfortunate. We heard that Itch would get targeted next. Here it is. I hope it's temporary. I hope that this is like a momentary lapse, and we are at like a low point culturally and societally for a lot of these things. The Late Show getting canceled because Donald Trump wanted it to get canceled. This is the kind of stuff that's happening right now, and hopefully there could be some pushback. Hopefully some sanity can return. But in this moment, it feels like we're a long way from that.
Yes.
And I hope we get on the other side.
Folks, I know it may seem incredibly intimidating, especially when those in power that may be on the same political side that you were affiliated with aren't doing anything. But hey, you having the mind and knowing what is wrong and right, that is at least a step. And I assure you, there are people out there that feel similarly to you, that know that things currently aren't right. And, we just got to stick together.
Yeah, and Wired in chat points out, it's like, they just got to win once in this battle, and they get all this stuff delisted and kind of do a wrecking ball through people's lives. And people trying to protect spaces like this have to win every battle, and it's very easy to sort of get discouraged with that sort of situation. And yeah, I feel for it. But what choice do we have? At a certain point, people got to be able to, like, we have to protect these small people who are trying to just make their little games for their little communities. It's not like these were the biggest things in the world. They should be protected.
And Grubb, like there are existing protections for younger audiences to stay away from these games. There are parental controls.
Yes.
There are age gates. And if that is what these conservative groups are so concerned about, is the children getting to them, then I don't understand why games have to be completely delisted if that is on. And this is the argument with a lot of conservative talking points. Well, you are asking to not be governed. You are asking for less control from the top, but you are exercising the most control when some of this stuff should be happening at the very start at home, right? Like, this should be the parents' problem, the guardian's problem, and less so the storefront. Because, sure, keep a little Timmy away from some of the hentai golf games out there, but Big Charlie down the street wants to get his rocks off, and I'm not going to stop Big Charlie.
I'm not going to stand in the way of Big Charlie when it's time for that. No way. Yeah, it's it's frustrating because we have clearly as a society so much ability to do things, and we almost always seem to use it to stop people from doing things that they enjoy or from making a living because we don't. And the reality is, they're doing it because it's the porn they like and they're ashamed of it. And it's not like, oh, they don't like this stuff. The collective shout, we know what you're into. You're into all this stuff. We know. That's why you knew about it. And then you get upset because you got done, you finished, and then you looked up and you're like, oh my God, what have I done? I got to stop everyone else from doing the thing I just did. We know.
Hey,
we know what you are. And you're going to come at us? Fuck off.
Collective shout. You are not using the post-nut clarity correctly. You fuckheads.
And then meanwhile, the rest of, government could be doing so much to help people, and that doesn't ever work or doesn't ever happen. It's incredibly frustrating.
Go jerk off. Oh, I'm so sorry I said that.
You jerk offs. All right, let's see here. Next news story. Sony invests $463 million in Elden Ring publisher Bandai Namco as part of, quote, strategic partnerships. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. As part of its strategic partnership with Bandai Namco, Sony will acquire 16 million shares in the company, giving it 2.5% ownership over it. The deal is valued at 68 billion yen, which works out to approximately $463 million. Bandai Namco has several major gaming franchises under its umbrella, including Elden Ring, Tekken, and Pac-Man. And it also owns the license to popular Japanese IP like Gundam and Shonen Jump, which seems more relevant here based on the quote where I'm about to read. Through this business alliance, Sony's investment in Bandai Namco as two of the leading Japanese entertainment companies, Bandai Namco and Sony will focus on expanding the fan community for IPs such as anime and manga around the world and strengthening engagement, particularly in the anime field where rapid market growth is anticipated. When I was reading this quote, Jan, I kind of started reading. I'd even finish it. I'm like, yeah, they're doing this they're going into anime because that's a growth market. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's literally what they said. That is, I think, kind of maybe the story for like what is happening with like a big company like Sony. Like games, maybe for the moment they feel like we've tapped out. We haven't figured out what's next. In the meantime, there are more anime readers or anime viewers and then manga readers every day.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's growing globally. And so Sony, not in on the ground floor, but has certainly bought up all the ground that has been built, is now investing in yet another partner that is massive in anime, and that is, Bandai, the Bandai side of Bandai Namco. Does this turn into a bunch of games? Honestly, what does it really mean? Because a 2.5% ownership stake, this just means that they will, that doesn't give them control over the company. But it sounds like the idea here specifically is for these companies to work together. What do you expect to come of it?
Grubb, we were just talking about how some media is getting censored. If there's any silver lining, I think that in the age that we live in, stuff like comic book related media. Anime has become widely popular and more widely accepted. So hence the Sony seeing the need to invest in anime and transmedia in terms of like video games, anime, TV shows, movies, because it is such a growing market. Like Grub, I had no idea that the Horse Girl game had a whole existing anime that had several seasons prior to that game coming out.
Yep.
And you look at something like Crunchyroll, and you look at other anime that are blowing up, and it is because of the ease of access with streamers and people being okay watching shows with subtitles or dubs coming out virtually at the same time.
Yep.
And there's so much fanfare. Like there's a Jujutsu Kaisen movie, which is a popular anime, Grub. A movie that came out, I believe, last week or is coming out this week that is doing gangbusters. And Sony is seeing that and realizing, okay, we got to invest in that, because if we can keep pushing that, we are getting tons and tons of audiences around the world. And for as many people would like to say that anime is for nerds, anime has become so worldwide in such an interesting way, because of, I don't know, Grub, like the ease of access of telling so many different stories. In the animated format, and for anime as a wider genre, just be able to share, tell, and create odd, off-the-wall, goofy stories. Not that it's any easier than doing traditional TV, but because of animation in general as a art form, you can, hey, you know what? In this isekai, this guy can't attack, but he can only parry. And in that one, they're all going through a dungeon, but they cook everything they fight. And it's beautiful. It's great. Shouts out to anime.
This is a dumb question, but there's a lot of anime, right? Like there's a ton of it. Like that, I think a certain point, like when I was growing up, I was definitely like, there's a couple of those shows over there, and obviously there's been more has been made is being made these days. But it's like, oh, there's an anime for every sport, and not just that. There's like multiple animes for every sport that have different takes on it, and there's just slice of life animes with just they just happen.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's the amount of content surprised me, I think, even as someone who was like vaguely kind of paying attention to anime when I was growing up. And now it does feel like there is a market ready to just subsume all, like to consume all of that. And it's growing because just every kid these days, I don't like in Emmy's class, she's 8. I bet the majority of the kids in that class watch some anime.
Totally.
And probably even like, not even just the majority, maybe close to all of them watch some kind of anime. And so it's just, to them, it's completely standard now. It is just one of the other selections on the menu. I had to seek it out. What is this guy on this envelope art in this video game magazine with the spiky hair and the orange jumpsuit? And I'm like, okay, Dragon Ball Z. They keep bringing that up. And so finally it came to it came to a Cartoon Network. And I was like, okay, I can finally watch this thing that I've heard about after maybe seeing 8-Man After on Sci-Fi Channel once. Now it's just there as another selection on Netflix, and not even just a selection, maybe the prime thing that is bringing people into that service. Sony, a company that already owns a lot of the anime that is produced and has a good relationship with Netflix, which it sounds like that's going to be a symbiotic relationship there, where Bandai and Sony can work together to produce the anime, and then they'll license it to Netflix, which will show it to people in the United States and other countries. And that does seem like it's going to keep growing. So I get why Sony is doing this, but I don't think this turns into a bunch of new video games based on Bandai. Because first of all, there's already Namco there.
Yeah.
Does Sony help them make more, make those games better? I don't know. This does seem to just kind of be about Crunchyroll getting more content and then selling more stuff to Netflix.
Yeah, Crunchyroll has become a behemoth in the anime space. I actually don't know of like a competing service. And in order to tighten the wallet, Grub, I had to cut some streaming services, so I had to cut Crunchyroll. And now I'm kind of sad because there's a new season of Kaiju number 8. Which I think you'd actually really like, Grub.
Okay.
Yeah. High Dive.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, make it happen. I I still need to watch the boxing anime.
Oh,
Yeah.
Grub, there are legitimately really good sports animes out there.
Yeah. That's and I'm in the mood for that right now. If I had more time, I definitely would have watched it by now. And yeah. Sony did that K-pop Demon Hunters. That's exactly an example of this. Of like, hey, we were gonna, that even feels like something a little bit different than traditional anime, or it's definitely still in that wheelhouse. But it's doing really well, and that is part of Sony dominating that space and then selling it to Netflix. And Sony, tried to have their own streaming service, but that's like the one big movie production company and TV production company that said, no, we're just going to keep working with Netflix. We're going to keep selling the stuff there. So I do think that whole merry-go-round is going to keep continuing. We're going to get a lot more content out of it.
Grub,
All right.
like the other
Oh, yeah, go
aspect of it in terms of like how anime has like really blown up and become part of the I guess cultural canon is the influx of Western I guess properties being adapted to look like in more anime style. I mean, there's Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I think on HBO Max now, the one to watch for HBO. There was
I think did they go back to HBO Max? I think they went back to HBO Max.
They went back to HBO Max. There was a Superman show from like 2 years ago that is just straight up an anime. And that's cool.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. I remember people really liking that show. And like, even like Western animation now fully influenced by anime that, even when it doesn't necessarily like look like it on the screen, the storytelling, the animation tech is very influenced by that. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, plenty more headlines to get into. As you can see on your screen right here, Battlefield 6 dated, Nintendo Direct talk. We got all of that coming right after this, which you can skip if you go to giantbomb.com/join and get the ad-free version of the show. We'll be right back. This episode of Giant Bomb is brought to you by giantbomb.com/join. Join us there, become a member. It helps us make fun stuff. It gets you ad-free content. It also helps us make some extras here and there that we'll give exclusively to you as members. It's giantbomb.com/join for $10 a month or $100 a year, where you save $20. You can support us in making all the cool stuff that we make over here at Giant Bomb. Once again, that's giantbomb.com/join. Become a member now. It's Game Mess Mornings. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's Jan Ochoa. We're back at it, getting into this Battlefield 6 news. Battlefield 6 release date reportedly leaks. This is from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. Battlefield 6 is set for its official unveiling on July 24th, which is today. So honestly, is this stuff happening now? It might have already come out as we were doing this. But a new report might have spoiled some of the surprise. A report from reputable leaker Deal Labs claims Battlefield 6 will launch on October 10th. Yes, the trailer is out now. Thank you, everybody. And it's out October 10th for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. An October release date for Battlefield 6 was previously reported, so it's not a total shock. The latest rumor is that Activision's Call of Duty Black Ops 7 will release on November 14th. That sounds about right. Okay, so chat, give us the details of 3-minute trailer. People seem to like it, or at least Marino here saying it's encouraging.
Okay.
Multiplayer reveal next week. Okay, that's right. Because they were going to do something like a big event, akin to Call of Duty next, where they bring out all the influencers, and that's starting on the 29th, and then I think we see it on the 31st. Or the 30th. I don't know how many days are in July. Okay, yeah. So it was basically a supercut of buildings falling over. Well, I like that. That sounds pretty cool to me. Battlefield 6 trying to get out ahead of Call of Duty. Of course, it was going to have to do that. Here's kind of what I've heard recently, that, they brought in Vince Zampella from Respawn to oversee DICE and Battlefield and make sure it's as good as it can be. But the game was already pretty far into development when that happened, apparently. And so, this has been alleged to me. It sounds right, that he really couldn't make too many big changes. All he could really do is make sure the game got out on time. So we'll see how different this really is. And honestly, even if he had all the time in the world, how different could he really make Battlefield? It's entrenched. It needs to be what it needs to be, and they get to find sort of other ways that they can kind of make it more appealing. I don't know what like the multiplayer reveal next week. What would you need to see, or what would you want to hear from about this game to kind of get you back into it or into it for the first time? I don't know what your history is with Battlefield.
My history with Battlefield, Grub, real quick, is just being incredibly intimidated to play because of the gigantic player counts, and I feel like I'd get sniped or killed, and I wouldn't know how or why. Something that would entice me, I don't know, maybe if they had gigantic mechs, or
yeah, that'd be cool.
They did a Star Wars inside of it.
Yeah, interesting.
But I'm always happy when an audience will get their comeuppance and get a win with a game that they like. The Silent Hill people, they got that. I hope the Battlefield people get a good game for once. I want that for them.
They've earned it, yeah. This thing went up 37 minutes ago, so I'm like looking at the trailer a little bit, and it does. It's got a good look to it. I think there is something just about the modern warfare setting of it, like we're not going near future where it's like it can have some weird stuff, and we're not doing World War II again. And it's like, here's an F-35 or an F-22 Raptor, and then a bunch of dudes in military gear. I think this is kind of where these games are at their strongest, both Battlefield and Call of Duty, especially with making an appealing sort of proposition to the audience of like, this is what the next game's going to be. And then, they have their destruction, and those buildings are certainly falling over in this video. So I like that. The campaigns for Battlefield have been been pretty weak for a long time, though.
Right.
Maybe this will be a really good one. I don't know, but it will all hinge on that multiplayer. They're talking about 100 million players for this thing. Part of that will probably be a free-to-play version that includes the Battle Royale mode or something like that. But it's a tall order that this thing has in front of it, and I just don't know. I wouldn't bet for it is where I'm at.
Yeah. Grub, I'm doing what I shouldn't do, and I'm scrolling through the comments of this trailer, and one of the most thumbs up comments is a comment that says, "No clown skins. Let's keep it grounded. Dice, please."
Yeah, there was a post on the Battlefield Reddit a couple weeks ago that I saw that kind of got served up to me by Reddit, and it was like there was a spectrum of player skins, of potential player skins, and it's like the regular soldier at 1, and it went all the way up to like 14 or something like that, or 13, and that was like a cartoon character, and it's like everything in between. Like, do you want like a plainclothes undercover spy as a potential skin? And everyone's like, no, just regular military guys. And they're gonna have to sell skins, and they're gonna have to make that work. And it kind of like shows the difficulty of established games in this space. Like Fortnite can be McDonald's. It can have a new Happy Meal every week with new toys to sell you, and it could be some license or some random thing. It doesn't matter. But Battlefield's got to just be Battlefield to a lot of its core fans. They don't want to see SpongeBob in fatigues showing up on their Battlefield. That no clown skins. Let's keep it grounded. Gotta tell you, Jan, I want SpongeBob in there. I want Patrick Star in there.
I'm now doing more of a mistake and scrolling through more of these comments and seeing how this is like something that some people want. That sounds boring as shit, Grub. There are so many super military games. Go play one of those, dog.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I need to read another one. This trailer gave me so much hope. In a world of cartoonish, cel-shaded garbage, we need a nice grounded military sim right now. Please don't fail us, DICE. Jesus Christ.
I do. I get people like wanting their thing to be the same, but also like when you talk that way, it's like, you should probably go play Arma. And the reality is they probably did play Arma and it wasn't for them. So it's like, and you're right. There are like, there's that World War II game where everyone has to like be on the actual like military hierarchy, and there's like a literal general who's like directing people using voice commands and stuff like that. And so go play one of those. But I don't know. Battlefield continue to be Battlefield is probably not what EA is thinking necessarily, because they want it to grow. They want it to be bigger and make more money than ever. And appealing to that same audience that is very demanding and like will kind of like will back off the game if it's not exactly what they want. You probably can't get to 100 million players by only appealing to those people. So I don't know. Good luck, guys. I hope it's everything you want.
In this trailer, several helicopters crash through buildings. What is grounded about that?
Yeah, I mean it's in like just American city streets, and I don't know. People like that stuff though. Like it's Tom Clancy shit. Oh, look at that bridge get exploded. All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'll probably watch more of this trailer once we're done here. Let me pause that. But it will hinge on the multiplayer, so we'll get that next week. We'll talk about it on Game S Mornings then and see what people are thinking. The game's going to be out in a couple of months apparently, so yeah, hopefully we'll get some good hands-on impressions from that thing next week and have a better idea of what to expect from this game. A Nintendo Direct is still on for this month, according to rumors. Is a Nintendo Direct happening this month? Well, there's still a chance, according to leaker and insider Nate the Hate. Recently, Mr. The Hate said that there would be a Nintendo Direct following the launch of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now we're a week removed from the launch of DK's latest adventure, and there has been no news of a Direct. However, Nate the Hate is standing by his claim. In a response to a user on Twitter, if a Direct was still happening in July, he said, "to my knowledge." So it's not like he's like going out there and like reconfirming, say, "I got new information." He's like, "Yeah, nothing's changed as far as I'm aware. I know what it's like to be in this position," and where it's like, "Listen, everything I've heard continues to say it should be happening. Nintendo will confirm it when they confirm it." It was never going to be the week of Donkey Kong, right? And it was never like if there was going to be a Direct, it was probably not going to happen the week of a Pokemon Presents. So next week is likely the only real time it would happen. But people always get antsy, and like you said, July, and well, it is still July, so give it a little bit more time. I think we probably do get one. I'm willing to trust Nate on this, and it feels like there's enough unknowns about the rest of Nintendo's year that now that Donkey Kong Bonanza is out of the way, they probably do just kind of want to shout about all the things they have happening with release dates and confirmations, and maybe announce a couple of new games. Again, like the rumors are, maybe an Animal Crossing is in this one. That I think that would be really cool to see. Like they did that Switch 1 Direct before the Switch 2, and it had Tomodachi Life, and it had was it Rhythm Heaven? Was it Rhythm Heaven? And those are both Switch 1 games. So I think and those are both coming out in 2026. I think then having Animal Crossing probably be exclusive to Switch 2, then sort of like it was like, okay, so there's those games for Switch 1 and then Animal Crossing for Switch 2, because why would them? I don't think there's a reason for them to put another Animal Crossing on Switch 1 when they could sort of use that to sell Switch 2s to that audience.
Oh my God, Grubb.
But it's been a long enough time that I think that's a very likely scenario. I guess the big question is just, does the Direct happen next week? What do you think?
Well, July is until next Thursday, Grubb. So there's still plenty of time.
And it wouldn't happen on a Friday. So for sure it could happen next week.
There's plenty of time for updates and maybe like smaller releases that they've had in their back pocket. Maybe they could finally talk about that online test, Grubb. But also there's like the Splatoon 3 update, the Splatoon Raiders that they could spend some extended time talking about. Drag and Drop?
Drag and Drive. Yes, Drag and Drive.
That's coming out. They could talk more about that. There's plenty of things that Nintendo could do.
Yep. And the Mario Party Jamboree's update will have just come out. So they will probably remind people about stuff like that. They probably will even talk about Donkey Kong a little bit. And just be like, hey, because we're still in the early days of teaching people what the Switch 2 is. They have more than enough to fill out a Direct. I think when we were a few weeks back and we were talking about, do we get a Direct this summer still? It's like, I don't know. This company seems like they're happy just to like do a Direct when they did, and now use the Nintendo Today app to make other announcements. That's maybe slowed down a little bit. I don't think that's because the Nintendo Today app isn't working. I think Nintendo will continue to use that strategically when they want to. But it does seem like, okay, they've gotten quiet about a lot of the questions I thought would be answered by Nintendo Today. To me, that says they're saving that stuff for a Direct. Specifically, it's release dates for Kirby and Metroid and a handful of other things. What's up, Jan?
Breaking news.
Did we do it? Did we do it? Did we get them?
It depends on who him is.
You know who I mean.
Hulk Hogan passed away.
All right, I'll take it. Oh man. Okay. Wow.
Woo!
Really? How old was he?
71.
All right.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah. Fuck off, bozo. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Fucking jabroni.
Yeah. Piece of shit. I mean, at least he was able to completely destroy the online media landscape before he died. So, yeah, man, I really hate that guy quite a lot. So, yeah, we did it, everyone. Well done. I hope a direct happens. I'm looking to get some answers. Give me Metroid Prime 4 release date, and then say it's like a month away. I'm kind of done waiting. All right. Yeah, damn, like it was Peter Thiel funding that for sure. I get it. Peter Thiel, hey, did he die also? That'd be awesome. I hope so. All right. The Lego Game Boy is a thing of beauty, available for pre-order. This is from Michael McWhorter at Polygon. Nintendo and the Lego Company have teamed up once again for a new Lego set based on the original Game Boy. First teased back in January, the Lego Game Boy set is now available for pre-order from Lego.com. Well, it's not to me because I actually already pre-ordered it. And priced at $60. The Lego Game Boy will be released October 1st. It's a 421-piece set. And according to Lego, a near one-to-one scale. It's just slightly smaller than the original Game Boy. In addition to the Game Boy Lego replica, the set will also include interchangeable brick-built Game Boy cartridges based on The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening and Super Mario Land. It also has these like little like plates, these scenes that you can insert into the Game Boy to make it look like you're playing Game Boy Link's Awakening right there on there. And this is the thing that really got me to buy it right away. It has the scene from Link's Awakening where Link is sitting on the beach with Marin, or Marin, I don't know how to say her name, I only ever read it. And it's so cute and so well done, so well animated, and like the art looks so good for a Game Boy that it's definitely like the first cutscene that I really remember loving. I guess I remember the Ninja Gaiden opening cutscenes, but whatever. This was just like, oh man, this is so cool. I can't believe a Game Boy is doing this. And for them to pick that and that to be the thing that you can insert in a Game Boy, I'm like, well, I have to have that. It's one of my favorite games, one of my favorite moments. So yeah, it looks really cool, and $60 feels like a bargain.
Oh,
although,
yeah.
you know, 421-piece set, I kind of, that's still right in line with what these things cost.
Yeah, for Lego sets, Marina's pointing out in chat, that is fairly cheap.
It feels like a deal.
As someone that has a very, very empty wallet, Grubb, I am looking at this just with lust in my eyes, Grubb.
It's good stuff. I definitely use the PayPal Pay Later. Don't worry about that. Paying for everybody. Let's go.
Like I thought the NES set was really cool and great.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up with the NES, so I didn't have a particular fondness for it. But when they announced the Game Boy, Grubb, I'm like, oh, Daddy need bricks. Daddy getting bricked up right now. But yeah, again, for $60, this is incredibly affordable for a Lego set, especially a partnered Lego set with Nintendo, because geez, even some of the little brick heads. I don't know if you've seen these, Grubb. I thought about getting very into brick heads, but they're a Lego thing in collab with like DC and Marvel, so you can get superheroes and stuff. They kind of look like pop figures, if I'm being honest, or Funko Pops, but you make them. I thought about getting really into those, but even those, Grubb, those will start climbing up in price, like $20 a set sometimes, and those add up very quickly. But this Game Boy is so fucking cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's still like around 12 to 14. I'm like doing quick math, 14 cents per brick. But I don't know. In my mind, it's just like only $60 for one of these Nintendo sets. That does feel really nice to see, and that's what made it a real easy impulse purchase. It's cute. The Lego lust is real.
But for the frugal folks out there, if you wait a bit for a cool Lego set that you really like to get released, there may be websites out there that detail the specific bricks that a set is comprised of, and you could get miscellaneous bricks for dirt cheap at other certain websites. So you can kind of hodgepodge together your own Lego Game Boy or your own Razor Crest of sorts.
And
Mando.
And I think of the people who are true like Lego sickos that need to build everything. that's a good route to go for sure. Like I that would be like time consuming. I wouldn't like want to do that myself, but it's like because I don't need every set. I just want these one specific ones here or there. So just the time to money ratio, it's like I'll just get this $60 set. But if I were into it, yeah, I would definitely go and just buy those bricks individually. All right, Xbox is expected to announce more game ports to other platforms, including Nintendo Switch 2 and PS5 in the coming weeks. This is from Alberto Garrido at Game Reactor. As we reported earlier this morning, a Nintendo Direct in July may sound unlikely. Did I get the wrong thing here? No, okay, yeah, this continues to on here. It seems it's all to do with Xbox's current strategy of launching its until recently exclusive titles as multi-platform, and some of those games may pop up in that Nintendo Direct. Xbox is expected to announce more game ports to other platforms, including Nintendo Switch 2 and PS5, in the coming weeks. A hint perhaps that Nintendo's digital event, as well as some special Xbox announcements, will take place in the coming days and weeks. I think there was that first Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. There was a lot of people like Xbox will have a huge presence there. Phil Spencer could show up on the Nintendo Direct, and that didn't happen. But maybe there was a reason for that, and it was because it's going to happen here. The Halo Master Chief Collection is one that always comes up as something that could get released on these other platforms. And at this point, why the hell not? We're long past the conversation about does it make sense for Xbox games to come to these other platforms? Obviously, it does. Yesterday's story of Forza Horizon 5 being the best-selling PlayStation 5 game this year is proof enough of like, oh, we are never going back, and we shouldn't. It doesn't make any sense. So it really just comes down to what Xbox games do you want to see come to PS5 and Switch 2?
A Master Chief Collection feels like a no-brainer, Grubb. I think we aren't we getting Gears of War on the PS5? Am I imagining that? Okay.
No. The Gears of War Reloaded, whatever the remake is called, or it's not a remake, it's a remaster, whatever that's called. This is the one reason I'm like kind of okay with this Gears of War thing, because otherwise that thing is going to be indistinguishable from the back-compat version that's already on Xbox. But that version's not on PlayStation 5. So that'll be there for sure.
I'm interested to see the numbers of how Indiana Jones has performed on the PS5.
I think it did pretty well. It definitely did better than it did on Xbox, because again, that was on Game Pass, so most people played it on Game Pass there.
I still haven't played Indiana Jones, Grubb, but do you think that is a game that could run on a Switch 2?
Yeah, I think at 30 frames per second for sure it could run on a Switch 2. I guess I'd have to think about if there's any like CPU bottlenecks that would hold it back. But my gut says it would probably work on there at 30 frames per second. They'd have to do a lot of optimization though.
Sure.
And maybe that one's not worth it. I don't know, but I bet Lucasfilm would really want it to be on there and just to be everywhere. But yeah, there is. Let's see. I was going to think there's some other stuff that people were hoping would come to Switch from Xbox. Fusion Frenzy, says Kenny on Toast there.
I was going to jokingly say Fusion Frenzy, and then you took the words right out of my mouth, Grubb.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I don't know. If you are one of the few Xbox console warriors out there that is still trying to maintain exclusivity and not get anything else, I feel really bad for you now, dog. Now that games are coming out on the other consoles, go maybe try a Switch 2. It's really cool.
Yep, these companies don't care anymore. They never really did. It was always just a front, but then now they're not even pretending. So there you go, bud. All right, let's see here. Moderation issues lead to removal of popular WWE 2K25 feature on Nintendo Switch 2. This is from Jake Valentine at DualShockers. The WWE 2K series' return to a Nintendo platform has been a welcome one, especially when the game is as enjoyable as WWE 2K25 is. In our review, I said it's one of the best wrestling games ever made and a fantastic entry in the overall sports genre, offering plenty of content to keep you busy throughout the year. It's also one of DualShockers' best reviewed games of the year, alongside other Nintendo Switch 2 hits like Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World. But the game is missing some features, but due to restrictions on the Switch 2, and fans are noticing some even bigger changes. As spotted by Game Rant, the official WWE 2K25 website made some updates to its community guidelines this week about the image uploader tool particularly when it comes to cross-play creations. They remind everyone that WWE 2K community creations are shared between platforms of the same generation. In short, it means the following. Per WWE 2K25 team, Xbox One, Steam, and PlayStation 4 players will share community creations. PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S players will share community creations. And Xbox One, Steam, PlayStation 4 community creations will not be accessible on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Nintendo Switch 2 players will not see image uploader based community creations from any platform or be able to upload their own. So that's the big thing here is, yeah, there's always these caveats of like what will work where. Switch 2 won't work anywhere and won't have it at all. You can't upload, you can't download. And I think there's speculation that it's this is maybe due to Nintendo's content guidelines. And I think that the reaction there, Jim, would be like, well, they have hentai golf and they have all this other stuff. Why would they have any problem with that? And it's like, yeah, that's like a published game, a game going through their store, and that's stuff they feel like they do have some control over. And so if Nintendo gives a thumbs up to hentai golf, that's one thing. I think Nintendo letting user-generated content run rampant and maybe seeing an accidental swastika. I think that's stuff Nintendo is still a little bit wary about. But it's a bummer, and maybe like, oh, that's a big reason not to get that game on that platform because community creation stuff is huge for WWE games.
100%, Grubb. I would feel really bummed out if I specifically bought 2K25 on the Switch 2 just to play it in like some mobile capacity, because the user-generated stuff is a major part of those games that have added so much longevity to them, and to not be able to do that on the Switch 2, it's a real big bummer. Again, this is another thing that perhaps some content moderation could handle and take care of instead of just axing the whole feature altogether.
Yep, and there's probably something to that, Jim, where it's like Nintendo's like, hey, we can do this and let you have this if there is a certain provable level of content moderation. And I'm sure there's some, but it maybe doesn't meet Nintendo standards or something like that. And 2K is like, well, we're not going to spend more money just to cater to Nintendo's wishes. We'll just sell the game without that stuff. And they were like, well, it probably won't hurt the game too much with that audience. The serious audience has probably been playing this game elsewhere for a long time because these games have either been not on Nintendo platforms or when they have been very bad. Because they were on Switch 1, the games were notoriously bad. So yeah, I think this is just them going like, we don't think this is going to matter, and we definitely aren't going to spend more money to ensure we can do these things on Switch.
But Grubb, how am I going to get on my Switch 2 Greg Miller suplexing SpongeBob while God does a 5-star frog splash from the top rope?
You're just going to have to use your imagination, which we do. We imagine that every day. Sorry, Jan. I'm sorry to tell you that. All right. So let's see here. Oh, by the way, there's an ACLU petition telling MasterCard to reverse its anti-sex worker policy if you want to sign. Cosbot has put that in chat. Shouts out to the ACLU, as always. The true sort of a loyal opposition to the government and everyone else. Gaijin Entertainment acquires user-created Fortnite map. I just thought this was neat, Jan. Kind of an interesting idea. This is from Rachel Kaiser at GamesBeat. Shout out to Rachel. I need to get Rachel back on.
Yeah.
Everyone remind me to do that. It's been a long time, and now I'm like, oh yeah, Rachel's great. We'll make that happen. War Thunder studio Gaijin Entertainment announced today that it has acquired The Pit, a popular user-created Fortnite island or map. While it didn't disclose the exact details of the deal, it did call it a multi-million-dollar deal. The acquisition is one of the first major investments in user-generated content within the Fortnite ecosystem. Gavin Gear, the creator of The Pit, said in a statement, "The Pit has been a defining project for me, and I'm thrilled to see it enter a new phase under Gaijin Entertainment. Their expertise in online gaming and commitment to innovation makes them the perfect team to take The Pit to the next level." Gaijin worked with Gear to hand over The Pit to Indo Worlds, a new studio the former is deploying, with a transition period of 2 months. After that, Indo Worlds will support and expand the map. According to Gaijin, the acquisition marks an expansion into UGC market as a part of an effort to diversify its business models. So I think this is neat. I also think this is the kind of thing where I'm like a little old man worried, Jan, where this is a different world than the one I grew up in. And I'm afraid of a future where all content, video game content, or not, I guess not all, but the majority or most of the investment doesn't go into here's a new game you can buy for your system or for your PC or on Steam. It goes into here is a new game inside of Fortnite. Here's a new game inside of Roblox. Here's a new game inside of Grand Theft Auto, and here's a couple of others, and here's Call of Duty's version of that, and that's it. Those are the platforms. It's these 5, 6, 7 games that are going to have all of the other games underneath them as this underneath their umbrella. And that to me, that sounds like such a recipe for stagnation. And of course, there's going to be the ability to be creative.
Yeah.
I just want it to be from the ground up creative, and not just have to make it make sense inside of Fortnite. But that's definitely a slippery slope argument. That's not what this is. This is early on. So yeah, that's just me kind of like closing my eyes and having that all my life flash before my eyes a little bit. I don't know. How do you read into this?
Grubb, I think there's like a gigantic part of the wider video game audience that kind of was conditioned and grew up with like the GTA Online downloadable map format, along with like Roblox and Fortnite, where this has kind of become the norm for them to expect something within something. The Pimp My Ride formula. We heard you like this, so we put this and that. And
I wonder why that's on your mind.
So I'm not too surprised. I do have some hesitations like you, Grubb. But I think this is just ultimately going to be a thing that I don't think will affect me too much. And I am under the expectation that this may not affect the global gaming audience because there's just so much shit happening all the time. Like there's a whole mobile gaming ecosystem that we are not privy to, Grubb, right? And I'm not just talking about gacha games. I'm talking about like, and not even like the match 3 games out there. There's like Call of Duty Mobile and other COD,
PUBG Mobile, one of the biggest games in the world. Yeah,
PUBG Mobile, or the tons of mobile games that rip off League or Dota that we're not aware of. So I'm under the assumption that this may not come across our radar too much. I just hope that the monetization that may get involved isn't too scummy. And unfortunately, with stuff like Roblox and Fortnite, they have been known to practice dark patterns.
Yes, definitely. I'll just say that, like, the way my kids have been playing games over the last month or so with Minecraft, I am seeing that future of, everything is going to be in one of these platforms, because they started off making their own worlds. Then I got them a Realm subscription, and they built that and did that with their friends. And now they're playing on these public servers that have all these games built into them. And they're simple. It is very similar to what people understand Roblox to be. And they're like, yeah, this is it. This is the video game now. And it's like, I bet there are millions of kids who are growing up in the same exact kind of ecosystem, whether it is Minecraft or Roblox or one of a handful of other things. And as they grow up, they're just going to be like, well, when I want to play video games, I go into Roblox and find it there. And as they get older and maybe their tastes change, I don't think that side's going to they will want Grand Theft Auto, but they will want Grand Theft Auto now be their Roblox for them, where it provides all these other games. So I think that the way of consuming this stuff, I don't think is going to change for this new audience that is growing up right now. So yeah, this is not going to happen immediately. And really, so much will change. That's the thing that you said that really was like, oh yeah, he's right. There's so much happening in games, so much changing all the time, that it's impossible to predict that this is actually the road it's going to go, because some new innovation will come along and disrupt this stuff. But for now, it feels like we're just on this path.
Grubb, did you know that RuPaul's Drag Race has a match 3 game?
I did not know that. I should not tell my wife that, because I don't need her to be addicted to a match 3 game. All right, let's see here. I have a poll question that we need to get to from yesterday. Have you played Forza Horizon 5? Your options were on PC/Xbox, on PS5, or I have not. 55% have played it on PC and Xbox. Another 3% played it on PS5. That's the best-selling PS5 game of the year so far. Only 3% of our responders here played it on PS5. I think what that says to me, Jan, is Maybe the audience is like maybe skews a little Xbox, but I think what it really says is that there's a massive
PC.
casual PlayStation audience out there that is just not listening to podcasts or anything like that, but like has heard about Forza Horizon and really wanted that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then 42% have not played it at all. Yeah, man. All right. New poll question. We'll get to it here in a second. Before that, though, Jan, why don't we tell people what we have going on the website over the next couple of days?
Over the next couple of days, Grubb, which is just today and Friday, we will have an episode of the voicemail dump truck later today. It's still time to get your calls in, folks. Grubb, you may be streaming something before then, correct?
Yeah. So at about 12:30 Eastern time, I am going to be streaming Skies of Arcadia. Legends for the GameCube. Yes.
Exciting.
Yep. Gonna do that. I'm gonna do that this week, and then I think I'm gonna do it some next week while y'all are out. And then we'll see. We'll take it from there. We'll go from there. I would like to play as much of that game as possible, but it's 40 hours. It'll be hard to play a lot of it.
Oofa doofa. Game Mess Mornings popping off tomorrow to cap the week, as well as Mario Party Jamboree for UPF.
Yep.
Yep,
we got to do it. It was in the contract. I don't know how it got in there.
Yeah.
I told the lawyer not to do it, but there it was. It's going to be good. Anything else? Yeah.
I believe most of us are going to pop on the hard drive charity stream tomorrow evening as well. So stay tuned for that. We'll share where to find the stream for that, folks. Next week is also going to be a bit of funky week. I'm going to be gone. Dan and Minotti are also going to be out on assignment. So it's just the Jeffs holding things down. So you may see some familiar faces popping on to fill seats and whatnot. And if you're one of those friends, then hey, holler at us because we need you.
Yeah, we need some help next week. All right, new poll question. I have it right here. Yeah, do you think a Nintendo Direct is happening next week? We will get the results of this poll, your options, yes or no, on tomorrow's show. So we'll end up the week talk about, hey, do people really think this is going to happen? For now, though, Jan, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's the only way to start a Thursday, Grubb.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You're the best audience of gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.